Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talking Pro Football. My name is Michael Carlyle. We will look back, sorta, at Week 15 of the National Football League. I say sort of because we've still got 4 games to go. It's been a crazy week with COVID postponing 3 games. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's deal with what's in front of us, or more appropriately, what's behind us, the games that we did have this past week. And we'll start with the Thursday night game kicking off Week 15 in the NFL. The Chiefs were on the road at the Chargers. Travis Kelce, a career-high 191 receiving yards, and he scored on a 34-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes in overtime as the Chiefs rallied for the 34-28 victory over the LA Chargers. Chiefs were 3-4 at the end of October. They've won 7 straight. They're now 10-4, and they've got a 2-game cushion in the AFC West. Chargers, meanwhile, drop to 8-6. On Saturday, we had the Indianapolis Colts at home to the New England Patriots. This was an interesting game. Jonathan Taylor, a big game. He rushed for a score in his 11th straight game. That ties a franchise record. This game had a little bit of everything. There was drama, there was physical play, there was arguing, there was a fight that led to the ejections of Patriot safety Kyle Duggar, as well as Colts receiver Michael Pittman Jr. Colts get the win, though, and that's really what matters here when it's all said and done. 27-17 was the final. Indy now 8-6, while the Patriots dropped to 9-5. All right, the early games on Sunday, the Bills were home to the Panthers, and Buffalo snaps a 2-game losing skid as they beat Carolina 31-14. Josh Allen threw for 3 scores. Devin Singletary ran for 86 yards and a touchdown. Buffalo now 8-6. The Panthers, their struggles continue as they fall to 5-9. The Cardinals were on the road at the Lions. Arizona came into this one with the best record in the NFL, tied for the best record. They were undefeated on the road, a win away from ending a 6-year postseason drought. Meanwhile, the Lions were at the bottom of the league standings. Yeah, so you know what happened. The upset of the week, maybe the upset of the season. Lions made it look easy. Jared Goff completes 21 of 26 passes for 216 yards and 3 touchdowns. Craig Reynolds ran for a career-high 112 yards as the Lions stick it to the Cardinals 30-12. Detroit now 2-11-1. The Cardinals, they've dropped 2 in a row. They're 10-4. The Jets were on the road at the Miami Dolphins. Duke Johnson ran for 107 yards and a career-best 2 touchdowns. Devontae Parker caught an 11-yard touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa with 3:37 left, and the Dolphins extend their win streak. They've won 6 in a row. How about the Miami Dolphins? They beat the Jets 31-24. Miami now 7-7, while the Jets are 3-11. The Dallas Cowboys were on the road. This was a big NFC East matchup. They were visiting the New York Giants. And if defense wins championships, then nobody in the NFL may be sitting prettier right now than the Dallas Cowboys. DeMarcus Lawrence forced a fumble. He made 2 other big plays that led to 15 points. The Dallas defense forces 4 turnovers for the 3rd straight game. They get the win 21-6 over the Giants. Dallas also got a touchdown pass from Dak Prescott and a 13-yard TD run from Zeke Elliott as they win their 3rd straight. Dallas now 10-4. The Giants, well, they're the opposite. They're 4-10. The Pittsburgh Steelers were at home. They were taking on the Tennessee Titans, and Pittsburgh's defense forced 4 turnovers, 3 on consecutive possessions in the second half as the Steelers held on to beat the Titans on Sunday, 19-13. The final, Chris Boswell drilled 4 field goals. Ben Roethlisberger had his first rushing touchdown in 3 years. With the win, the Steelers keep their playoff hopes alive. They improved to 7-6-1. The Titans, meanwhile, they've dropped 3 of 4, and they are now 9-5. The Houston Texans were on the road. They were at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Playing in their first game since firing head coach Urban Meyer, the Jacksonville Jaguars, well, they looked exactly like the bad team they've been all season long. Texans rookie quarterback Davis Mills won for the first time in 8 starts. He connected with Brandon Cooks twice for touchdowns, once early and again late. Texans get the win 30-16. They are now 3-11. Jaguars have dropped their 6th straight game. They are 2-12, and thanks to Detroit's victory, the Jaguars are now in line to have the number 1 pick for the 2nd straight year. On to the late games. We'll start in Denver. The Broncos playing host to the Bengals. It wasn't pretty, but it didn't have to be for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow threw for a touchdown. The Bengals defense came up big when they needed to. They hauled off Denver 15-10. Drew Lock engineered Denver's only touchdown drive when he came in following a scary injury with Teddy Bridgewater. He was carted off the field and taken to the hospital for evaluation of a head injury. Bengals get the win. They now sit atop the AFC North at 8-6. Denver slips to 7-7. The San Francisco 49ers were at home. They were playing host to the Atlanta Falcons. Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 235 yards and a score. San Francisco ran for 3 more scores, and they win for the 5th time in 6 games. They beat the Falcons 31-13. 49ers now 8-6 after struggling in the early part of the year. They're right in the middle of the wild card picture in the NFC. Falcons, meanwhile, they dropped to 6-8. The Green Bay Packers were on the road at the Baltimore Ravens. Aaron Rodgers tied Brett Favre for a major franchise record, and the Packers clinched the NFC North. Rodgers threw 3 touchdown passes, tying Favre on Green Bay's career list. Packers become the first team this season to clinch a division title. They beat the Ravens 31-30. It did get tight late. Green Bay nearly squandered a 14-point lead. They hold on when the Ravens missed out on a 2-point conversion in the final minute. Packers have won the NFC North 3 straight seasons now. They're 11-3. Ravens, who were without quarterback Lamar Jackson, he had the sprained ankle, they fall to 8-6. They've also dropped 3 straight and 4 of their last 6. In the Sunday night games, Saints and Bucks, a big division matchup. Cameron Jordan and the New Orleans defense gave Tom Brady fits once again. They shut down Tampa Bay's high-powered offense Sunday night. Saints put the Buccaneers division title celebration plans on hold. New Orleans gets the win 9-0. Yeah, you heard me right. 9-0 was the final. Despite playing without head coach Sean Payton on the sidelines, Saints beat the Bucs for the 7th straight time during the regular season and the 4th straight since Brady left New England for Tampa back in 2020. Brady threw for 214 yards and a pick. Tampa drops to 10-4. The Saints, they're still hanging around. They are 7-7. All right, now here's where things get interesting. Not just the regularly scheduled Monday night game. We got 2 Monday night games this week. We've also got 2 Tuesday night games. This is because of games being moved because of COVID. Remember before the season started and the NFL said they were not going to move any games if games had to be postponed, and it was because of lack of vaccinations and things like that? Teams would just forfeit? Yeah, not so much. So the regularly scheduled game, Vikings and Bears, that one's in Chicago. Minnesota, a 6.5-point favorite. Lots of COVID issues here. These games are going to be a little tough because we don't know who might be able to come back, who won't be able to come back. But Minnesota, a 6.5-point favorite in this one. The Bears just aren't good regardless of who they do have and who they don't. So I'll take Minnesota in this one. The earlier Monday night game, which I guess technically is a late afternoon Monday game, but the Raiders are on the road at the Browns. This was originally a Saturday game. Vegas, a 2.5-point favorite on the road, and that should tell you all you need to know about the Browns situation as it relates to COVID, because Las Vegas isn't very good. The Browns have had their moments, but the Raiders favored by 2.5 on the road. We do know that Baker Mayfield will not be available for the Browns. Neither will his backup Case Keenum. That's a huge blow to them. I really don't feel good at all about taking the Raiders on the road, but I'm going to in this one. I think this will be an ugly game, but Vegas finds a way to squeak this one out. Then on to Tuesday, and we get a pair of games. They're both at the same time. The first one, the Seahawks on the road at the Rams. LA, a 7-point favorite. They've had a ton of COVID problems. Seattle's played better the last couple of weeks. COVID or no COVID, though, I do like the Rams in this one. The other game, a little more interesting. Washington, who's had their share of COVID problems. They're on the road taking on the Eagles. Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. I've been burned. Every time I finally decide to listen to everybody and kind of sort of jump back on the Washington bandwagon, they do me wrong. They come up small when they need to come up big. I'm not falling for it again. Washington's got COVID problems. The Eagles, look, Philly's got a lot of problems as well, but I do think the Eagles find a way to come away with a victory here. I will take the Eagles. Let's look at some news and notes in the National Football League with 4 games still to go in Week 15. A total of 40 touchdowns were scored across the NFL on Sunday. That's the fewest touchdowns scored on a Sunday with at least 10 games since November 27th of 1994. Even with the games that were played on Sunday, there were COVID issues, there were injury problems, defense, whatever the reason, not a good day for offenses on Sunday. That Sunday night game, the Saints handed Tom Brady his first shutout since Week 15 of 2006. If you're doing the math, that was a streak of 255 straight games that Brady had not been shut out in. The last team to shut out Brady back in 2006, it was the Miami Dolphins, led by a young, spry head coach by the name of Nick Saban. What a showing from the Saints on Sunday night. Of course, they were without their head coach, Sean Payton. The defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, assumed the head coaching responsibilities. They shut out the NFL's best offense. They also get back to 500. The Saints have a lot of problems. The offense, especially with the injury issues, it is kind to say it is a work in progress. They basically had no offense on Sunday night, but they still managed to shut out the Buccaneers. They get the win 9-0. Kudos to the Saints for finding a way to get that victory. New York Giants wide receiver Sterling Shepard suffered an Achilles injury when he went down on a non-contact play near the end of the game on Sunday. His season is over. Aaron Rodgers tied Brett Favre on Sunday for the most passing touchdowns in Packers history at 442. He also reached that mark with almost 200 fewer interceptions. Rodgers in his career has thrown 93 picks. Favre ended his career with 286. Deebo Samuel has a rushing touchdown now in 5 straight games. That's the longest streak by a wide receiver since the NFL-AFL merger. TJ Watt on Sunday broke the Steelers' single-season sack record when he got his 17th sack of the season. One of the hottest teams in the NFL, it's the San Francisco 49ers. They started out 3-5. They're now 8-6, and they're playing really well. And like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about their game, they find themselves smack dab in the middle of all the wild card talk in the NFL. Kudos to them for bouncing back from a rough start. Speaking of rough, the New York Giants, of course, a couple of weeks ago, they fired their offensive coordinator, Jason Garrett. Since firing him following their Week 11 loss to the Bucs, only the Jacksonville Jaguars have scored fewer points than the Giants. As a matter of fact, to put it in perspective, Giants offense before and after Jason Garrett. Before Garrett, they were averaging 18.9 points per game. After Garrett, 12.3. Total yards per game for the Giants before firing Jason Garrett, 322.8. Since firing him, 283 yards per game. And first downs per game before firing Jason Garrett, 19.3 first downs per game they were averaging. Since firing him, 17. Now, look, I'm not telling you that, oh my gosh, the Giants went to crap after Jason Garrett was let go as offensive coordinator. And I'm by no means a Jason Garrett honk. But I think these numbers bear out. The Giants have a lot of problems. They weren't necessarily Jason Garrett's fault, but somebody's got to take the fall. And unfortunately for Garrett, it was him. Talking about headed in the wrong direction. Remember way back in September when we were all talking about the Carolina Panthers. Oh my goodness, the Panthers, look at them. They're such a great story. They're 3-0. Well, since September, the Panthers are 2-9. I'll save you the trouble of doing the math. That makes them 5-9 on the season. What quarterback has the highest completion percentage this year? Yes, go ahead. No, I'll wait. No, not him. Nope. No, not him either. All right. Tua Tagovailoa, highest completion percentage in the NFL. He's completing 69.9% of his passes this year, and it's no coincidence his efficiency. Now look, let's be fair here. They don't go downfield an awful lot either. There's a lot of short passes, but that's fine. It's working for them, but he's been efficient, and the Dolphins have won 6 in a row, and now they're in the playoff conversation in the AFC. The Ravens, they've lost 3 straight And they've lost 3 straight by